This is a Thunder Dog podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Midnight Musing. This is the podcast where I talk to my friends about the things that keep them up at night. I'm Evan, your host. This is the third episode of the show. On this episode, I talked to my friend Jason. We met about halfway through high school, and he's one of the few people that I actually still talk to from that era of my life. We went to different schools in different cities, but there was just something there, and we kept in touch. On this episode, we're talking about introversion and extroversion and how that dichotomy, or whatever you want to call it, impacts our lives. You know, how do we define it? How does it define us? That sort of deal. So, without further ado, let's jump into the episode proper. I guess, easy first question. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Honestly, it depends on who I'm with.
Okay, totally fair.
Yeah, so if people don't want to talk to me, I don't get the urge to go talk to them.
Right.
Because I get that hostility feeling from them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a person that's like gonna go out of my way to make conversation.
Right.
Or something like that. But like if I'm with a bunch of like cheery people and like they're all talking to me, then I kind of like shift myself into like a more of an extrovert.
Right.
And then I get more friendly and like more chatty.
Right. More outward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, for sure. How about you?
Oh, it totally depends on the day. It's not even the people, it's the day sometimes.
Okay.
Obviously people have an impact, but like some days it's like I crave outward energy, like
right.
outward attention.
Mm-hmm.
And other days I'm very like a hermit.
Yeah.
I think part of the way I operate is kind of like the grass is always greener on the other side.
True.
Where like if I'm seeing people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all I want is a day to myself.
Right.
Just leave me alone for a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to watch Netflix. Whereas when I'm like more secluded and not by choice,
Yeah.
that's when I start to crave attention.
True.
Which I don't know what that says about me. That I just refuse to be happy. I don't know.
No, you're just looking for that balance.
Yeah, I think balance is important.
Yeah, for sure.
People lean one way or the other, but I don't think anyone's like truly only introverted
Yeah.
or truly only extroverted. Because everyone needs those quiet moments. Everyone needs those like
Loud
hanging out
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, surprisingly, humans are social animals. We don't just, roam solo like tigers.
That's
I
true.
don't know anything about tigers. Do they roam in packs?
No, tigers definitely roam in
Okay,
packs.
yeah. I'm not a zoologist.
No.
I'm a media graduate. I was going to say student, but not anymore.
No, you are an adult now.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's episode 1. I feel like there are stereotypes about being an introvert versus being an extrovert.
Yeah.
Like, introverts read and they're artistic because they like to be alone and in their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. There's like pros and cons about that though, because like
Yeah.
introverts like are like the people with like a few very close friends and that have like a really good relationship with each one of them.
Mhm.
But then like there's the extroverts that are like
Social butterflies.
and like they don't really have like a deep understanding with any other friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like a deep connection, I mean.
Yeah. Or at least they might still have that with a couple people, but like
Not
they're still very interactive with people they aren't close with.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a lot of it. It's not necessarily like that you don't want to talk to people, it's that you don't want to talk to people you aren't close with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always down to talk to like you or like a couple other people that I knew from high school or some of my university friends. Like, I'm always down to talk to them. I don't care how shitty of a mood I'm in. Like, I'll talk to you.
That's good.
But other people, like, if they message me, I'm like, nope, you're not getting the time of day right now because I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think is definitely the more introverted side. But then other times I'm like, especially, it might just be a boredom thing. is when I get extroverted.
Oh, okay, yeah. You get bored and then you want more people.
Like if I'm at work and it's really slow, I'll
Yeah.
like scroll so far back through Facebook Messenger and be like, who can I message? Let's get weird with it. So I don't know if that's necessarily introversion, extroversion, or just like bored and lonely.
True.
But is there really a difference? I don't know. Like, I'm sure technically there is, but like, I feel like extroverted people are the ones that get bored and lonely easier.
Yeah.
Whereas introverted people are the ones that,
Or more content and like.
yeah, are happier and can thrive in their own solo space.
Yeah. It depends on who's messaging me. Like if there's like, I don't want to say like I rank people in my mind, but like there's.
But you got that MySpace top 5?
Exactly. The MySpace top 5, or or like
MySpace is even before our time. Like,
I guess
MySpace.
I guess our if we want to stick to our time, the Facebook top friends, the top 5. Do you remember that in 2008, 2009? That shit.
Did they really have that on Facebook?
They did have that on.
I didn't have Facebook until like 2011.
True. Well, okay,
2010? 2010.
So back in the day when I first got it, you used to be able to see who your top 5 friends were.
Okay.
Because like it's like the matter of like who visited your profile the most and like who commented on your status the most.
Okay, interesting. Or if we want to be super modern with it, Snapchat.
That's true.
Snapchat best friends, yeah. Like sometimes I'll have like a full roster of like, I think you can get up to like 8 or 10 best friends.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll have 2. I don't know. I think right now I'm at like 3 or 4.
True. I'm only at 1 because I only really just Snapchat my girlfriend.
That's fair.
Only for a streak too.
Snapchat is kind of lame. I
It's
feel
like-
like it's on its way out.
It's on its way out for sure.
Do you think introversion is related to anxiety in any way? Or is it not?
I mean, majority of the cases it probably is. Like you're probably like a little too afraid or a little anxious to talk to somebody, and then like you actually don't, so people kind of exclude you, and then you kind of embrace that, and then people start calling you an introvert, and then you're just like, okay, I guess I'm an introvert now.
I guess like which came first, the anxiety of talking to people or the introversion? Yeah, okay, I think that makes sense, because yeah, I don't know, I feel like when I am introverted, it's because I'm like, I don't want to bother people. Like they have lives outside of me, I don't need to bother them.
Yeah.
Which is sort of an anxiety thing, I guess.
That's true.
Like I'm just gonna leave them alone because they have better things to do than talk to me.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm at a party and I don't know people, it's like quote unquote introverted to like not want to go up to a crowd of randoms and be like, how's it hanging? Who wants to do drugs? Whereas like an extrovert would be happy to walk into a party where they knew nobody and like just find someone they vibe with and off to the races.
Yeah.
And I feel like to some extent every kid is like that.
That's true. Yeah, every kid is like that, and then like
Or like not every kid, but most kids.
a lot of kids are like that, and then it's like how they get, like the response they get back, like kind of molds them into like an introvert and extrovert.
Yeah.
It's like if they get good responses, then they're like that for like the rest of their lives,
Right.
and then if not, they're kind of like the other one.
They kind of recede back into their shell.
I moved around way too much to keep like real friends around. Like I
right.
think the one friend I managed to like really keep that before I moved to London was like my one friend named Jacob. Like I met in grade 7, and he's like the only person I still talk to from the States.
Right. Because you went from Korea to Kansas.
Calgary
To Kansas.
and then to
Okay.
London. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of moving.
It's a lot of moving, so like I was forced to, I guess this is where like my point of like it depends on who I'm with makes me an introvert or extrovert. I was forced to like make new friends so often because I moved so much
Right.
that like it's either kind of like be the new freaky like quiet kid that nobody really wants to be, or just force yourself to like talk to somebody that is kind of cool and like that you can vibe with, and then like just do that for a little bit and then find somebody that like you can really hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the process when you move. You just like you find whoever is talking to you to just talk to,
Yeah.
and then a little bit after you find somebody else that you get better along with, and
Yeah.
then like that's your real friend, and then you kind of drift away from like
Yeah.
the first ever friend.
Yeah. I haven't moved cities except for when I went to college, and that was literally my experience.
True.
Right? Like you get to res the first day,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like the first person you run into, that's your friend for the first couple days.
Right.
For me, it was this dude named he's such a dick. He smokes cigarellos, cherry flavored cigarellos. And like, he was a real character. He was like a country bum that was also a huge stoner. I don't know. But like for the first like 4 days, he was the guy I talked to.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, well, we just found each other, and that's like it for now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I don't want to say that icebreakers work, but like they kind of do.
Yeah, true.
Because I think they're so goofy, and everyone hates them, that you kind of relate over hating them.
Yeah.
Rather than like relate over like, hi, I'm Evan. If I was an ice cream, I would be pistachio. Like, you don't relate over that. You relate over hating it and how dumb it is. But like, after a few of those, I found like a different dude on my floor that I actually liked, rather than that would talk to me.
Yeah.
And then that's how I met my whole group of friends, because that guy had met the other people down at the calf, and then I joined him at the calf. The way I was introduced to my circle of friends that I have 4 years later was, this is Evan, he masturbates a lot. And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, it's like the person you become friends with the first time, you're not friends with like after a while. Like, I think the only exception to that is like when I first moved to our high school, the first person I ever talked to, or first two people I ever talked to was Megan.
Okay.
And then Eric.
Oh, okay.
Eric was like the one true friend, like my very first friend, basically. Like, he showed me around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I feel like as soon as high school was over, I immediately stopped talking to him. Heck, I feel like by the end of first semester at Lucas, like grade 11, we weren't close anymore.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Like, I think, to some extent, there's like forced friendship through proximity.
Yeah, except Eric was just being really nice to me,
Yeah.
just because like he knew I was new, and then like he had all these friends, like he knew everybody for like the last how many years they went to school together with.
Right, which is weird because like I didn't know Eric at all.
Oh, true.
I think I knew who he was.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I think society definitely values extroverts though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly would have said the opposite.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why do you think extroverts are more valued?
Because like extroverts are like, okay, see, this is the corporate side of me talking, because like I'm in my second job ever now, like where I'm in like an office setting.
Right.
And every like leadership position I've seen taken was by like a very cocky guy who's very like outgoing.
Right.
And you kind of like associate that with like success because they're like the leaders.
Okay, I can see that.
And I think like in a way, a lot of people in any industry kind of look at them and their extrovertedness, and they kind of associate that with good things. And I think that's why society like values that more.
Right. Okay. I can see that. I think my perception was more in like a school sense.
True.
Because I'm like still very much in like a school mindset where it's like the introvert is the one that reads, and like, so like they can be the intellectual, but they can also be the artist type. Whereas I feel like extroverts are also often shoved into the dumb jock stereotype or the partier stereotype.
Okay.
At least in like a high school college setting.
Yeah.
So I feel like from the like school administrative side, like the introvert is more valued because they don't act up in class. They get their work done.
Yep.
I'm not saying they tend to be smarter or anything. Like, I don't think there's any sort of
correlation
between intellectual ability and whether you're introverted or extroverted. But I feel like maybe the school system thinks there is.
I don't know, because like even when I was in school, like just a side note, as soon as I graduated, I ditched the school mindset. So
I want to, but it's still so ingrained in me.
I think it just helped that I was working full time right away. and like that just helped me get rid of it so fast.
You just get into the office mindset instead.
Yeah. But like even when I was in school, like even college or university and even high school, it's like there's all these like popular kids, and like they're like so extroverted, and like they're also outgoing. They're kind of like admired by like the adults in a way. And then I don't know, like in university I found that like the more extroverted kids got like the cooler internships first,
Right.
and like the whatever first, and
They're the ones that actually go out and do things to get scholarships.
Exactly.
And they are the ones that, yeah. Okay, I can see that too.
Like I think it's because like I'm also a very jealous person, and like I see the like successful stories like that, and I always like kind of generalize them as like one big extrovert group.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think socially, extroverts are definitely more
Yeah, socially they're more valued.
valued.
But, like,
Not necessarily even valued, just like
but like
they're more in the spotlight.
yeah, they're more in the spotlight.
So we've kind of talked about our definition of like introvert versus extrovert and like how they interact. But like, how does your own like special little cocktail of introversion and extroversion like impact you at the office?
See, that's tough because the office is so small,
Yeah.
and I kind of feel introverted in that too because somehow the way it worked out is the majority of the people who are working at the office knew the CEO of my company from working at Chatime.
Okay.
Because
Interesting.
the CEO of our company is also an investor in Chatime, so he owns like one of the franchises. So they're always like kind of like
They're
they-
kind of clicky.
they're kind of clicky. Those two are kind of clicky. There used to be a third one, but she left,
Okay.
and the third one left. The office definitely had the what is it, the Chatime vibe, and then there was me and Andy. Andy went to school with me, but he was there on the 16-month internship program.
Right. So he was there before you.
He was there before me, but he just went back to school. So now it's me and those two.
Right. Wow. I didn't realize how small your office was.
It's really small. It's like 6 of us at most in the day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, you'd think something that small, it would get like super like everyone's involved.
Yeah, everyone gets involved when it comes to work. Like we all
Yeah.
talk to each other. But like during the normal day when we're all working, you kind of find the Chatime people talking together more.
Right.
And then like me and Ed and like the people who haven't like worked in Chatime, we're kind of just listening to music and we're working on our own.
Right.
So like in a small space like that kind of affects me because it's like it goes back to me saying how if they don't want to talk to me, then I don't want to talk to them.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
So I guess I'm a little bit introverted in the office, but like at the same time, like if they invite me out to go have drinks, I'll go.
Right. How do you think they would react if you just like jumped in on a convo one day? Like
They would look at me weird because they would know for sure I don't know what they're talking about because 9 out of 10 times those two are talking, they're talking about somebody at Chatime.
Oh, okay.
Like that messed up something at the shift or something.
Oh. Okay.
Because they both worked there for like, they both worked there since like Chatime opened up in London.
Right.
And then, so they're like the OG people.
Right.
And then, so now they have like shift manager positions. But like,
okay, while still doing full time at the office.
yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, in an office setting, I'm more introverted. But like,
And is that just like trying to be professional?
I don't even think so. I think it just like happens that way. Like I think I would definitely be a lot more outgoing if they talk to me.
Yeah.
And like they do talk to me from time to time, and I talk to them back like a normal person, sure. But that's just the office style. I think if we had more people, because when Andy was in the office, it would be me and Andy talking,
Right.
because we were both from Western, and like we both like are in the same program, same classes. I just did all the courses that he's gonna take in September.
Right. So you have
So-
stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're-
but what about outside of the office?
Outside the office, like I'm gonna have to go back to like when I was in school because like
That's when you saw people?
yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I'm like graduated, like, and a lot of my friends moved away, and like I think my closest friend from university, like he and I barely talk anymore because he and I are so busy, and like
Right.
he lives in Ottawa, I live here, so it's like I kind of live an introverted life. Like I'm usually just either talking to you or my girlfriend.
Right.
But like in school, like I was like always at that one study room, and then like I was always like talking with the other comp sci kids, because like okay, I guess that's a little different because like the comp sci kids becomes like a clique and it becomes like a little family because it's such a small department on campus, and like we all just kind of help each other like get through like difficult assignments, like study for tests together, even if you like don't know really each other that well.
Right.
You're kind of like, oh, you're in that class too. Yeah, I am. And then you just like, oh, let's work together. It's
Yeah.
a little weird, but like, how does it define me? I don't know.
But do you miss talking to people? Like, do you crave the like social that you're not getting right now? Or are you just kind of like chill doing
I
the
think I'm
solo
okay.
thing?
Like, my girlfriend talks to me like enough, thankfully, that like I don't feel like I'm ever alone.
Mm-hmm.
Do I miss it? Not
Yeah.
particularly, no.
Okay, interesting. Because like I find myself like, it's not even that I want to like go to a party or something specifically, but I'm just like, I think having access to people
Yeah.
is a totally different vibe. Where it's like, I don't know, just having the option is really nice. Like I could text anybody like on my contact list and be like, yo, let's grab lunch or something. But right now, since I can't, it's like, I don't know, it's very isolating. And that's when I'm like, damn, I miss my friends.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm there, like having the option is just kind of like a reassurance that like, yeah, they're there. I don't need to.
That's interesting. Okay, maybe my answer would be different if I didn't have things I wanted to do outside of work.
Okay, fair enough.
Like right now, like I gladly talk to you, and then I gladly talk to Kim. But like, there's like a lot of like side projects that I want to get done, and then like I want to try to like buff up my resume. So like maybe next year, like by the end of next year, I can start applying to different jobs so I can get out of London.
Right.
So like I kind of like, even though I'm not in school, that's my constant like
Right, you're
homework
still in the education
mode. It's like I'm gonna try to teach myself all this new things so I can like market myself as like a stronger developer.
Right.
So I can go to like different cities and get paid more, and like try to find a career that's like more like, what's the word that people say, like to feel fulfilled?
Fulfilling, yeah.
Something like that. Cause like, so I guess in a way that fuels my introvertedness.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I think part of definitely being busy affects things.
Oh, yeah.
I think that just lends credence to the introversion. That's probably the better word. Is that you are completely content doing all of that on your own.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you do see your girlfriend, you see me, but like, push comes to shove, if you have to like get shit done, you're good on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not that like extroverted people are like codependent or anything, but they do somewhat rely on that social energy to keep them motivated.
Yeah.
Whereas you're very like self-motivated.
I wouldn't even say I'm that motivated of a person. I'm just like, it's just the, like, I think, like, this job that I got, I was so happy at first to, like, start, but, like, I think I quickly realized, like, how much I don't like web dev in a way.
Right.
But, like, web dev is, like, it's fun when you're doing it for yourself and, like,
Yeah.
you're, like, making things that you're interested in, but, like, when you're doing things for clients, that's when it gets, like, really brutal, right?
Yeah.
So-
I totally feel that. Like, doing my job, same deal. Where it's like,
so
I come home and I have like a billion ideas for doing shit for myself, like this podcast and every other podcast idea I have, and like graphics for it and like all this other shit. And then I get to work and I'm like,
no.
I have to put text on an image. How am I supposed to do that and make it look good? Like I don't know what. Like I struggle with that sometimes. Like it's not necessarily introversion, extroversion. It's just kind of like finding something that you're happy doing that you can also get paid for.
That's true, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because like I quickly realized I want to get out of web dev as soon as possible, which is why I'm trying to get into software dev, but like through the blockchain world.
Right. Yeah. Some crypto.
Yeah, some crypto. Definitely
crypto.
It's kind of fun learning about it. I was gonna ask like if being an introvert or extrovert like affects your career path, but like
for me,
yeah,
I mean it. I think it does in some ways, and it doesn't in others. Like, I think it depends on what I consider my career to be.
True.
Like, I hate talking on phones, but is that introverted? Like, I don't know if being shy is being the same as introverted.
No.
Like, the same thing as we were talking about, like, is anxiety the same as introversion? And you said kind of like, no. Like, because I think introversion is, like, just gaining energy from yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think in some ways... Well, the problem is I'm not either. I kind of am. I don't know.
You're like somewhere in the middle.
I would consider myself an extroverted introvert, where I have these flashes of extroversion, but, like, at my core, it's still introvert. It's weird. Like, when I'm with people, I don't necessarily want to go to sleep. Like, you know how people, like, the introvert thing is, like, your social batteries run low and then you, like, have to leave.
Yeah.
I sometimes, like, just don't have that at all.
Mm.
Like, even with people I don't necessarily know. Like, there was one time I was at a party.
Yeah.
And literally everyone went to bed except for me and one other girl. I had talked to this... I'd seen this girl in passing because we were in the same classes. But I'd never really sat down to talk to her.
Yeah.
So, like, people went to bed at, like, 1 or 2. And I sat with this girl until 5. Just chatting. And it was like I didn't feel tired. I didn't want to leave necessarily. I mean, I felt weird about being in someone's house when every host was asleep.
Yeah.
The social interaction wasn't what made me want to leave.
Interesting. Okay.
And, like, and then I left at, like, 5:30, took an Uber back to my place, slept for 2 hours, and had a job interview, and I got the job. That's a whole other thing.
Nice.
So I think in some ways, like, 100% an extrovert. But, like, other days, I won't even make it to the party.
True.
Like, I 100% am just like, I know my friends are there. I know I like all of them. No interest.
Yeah.
So it's hard to consider how it impacts my life because it changes so often. And, like, even with the same interactions, like, it would be going to the same house with the same people, different night, but, like, same general events. It's a party. It's a house party. Like, and I can have, like, 2 wildly different reactions to it.
True.
And, like, I don't think necessarily anything else was going on that would affect that. It was just kind of like the day, and I was feeling, like, introverted. And I was like, I want to stay home and watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine and go to bed at 9:45 and be happy. Yeah. And then other days it's like, I need to be at this party. It is how I'm alive.
True.
This is what I live for.
Interesting. True.
So, like, I think in some ways, like, that also impacts my professional life.
Yeah.
Because, like,
your career.
I don't know. I work weird jobs. Like, I've never worked, like, a food service job or anything like that. So, like, when I worked at the car plant, it didn't matter what the hell I felt like. Because it was just like, you go sit in the car, and then you get out of the car. Yeah. Didn't matter what the hell was going on in my little dumb brain. And then the job after that was where I had to, like, go talk to high school kids twice a week. So that required, like, a lot of extroverted energy and, like, exhausted after those days. Yeah. Right? And then this job, I don't know. It kind of depends on the day, whether I have to be, like, actually talking or if I can just put headphones in. Like, some days are headphone days.
Right, for sure.
Some days are like, all right, when is the guy I work with going to start talking to me? Yeah. Because, like, I'm the same way with you. Like, I'm not going to start a conversation with you. Really? Not, like, with the guy at work.
Oh, okay.
No, you. Not you. Not you, but, like, I'm not going to start a conversation with the guy at work.
Right.
Partially because, like, I know he's working. So, me talking about whatever, less important. Yeah. Which is not introverted, extroverted. It's just priorities. True. But, like, I don't know. I have no interest in just trying to start a conversation, usually.
It's weird because, like, I'm in a different situation where I'm like, so, like, the work hard and you'll get the best job ever mentality in programming only applies to like the very top 1% of people.
Yeah.
So if you're not in the top 1% of people, it's about like how you network and how you like
it's
get
who you know.
is who you know, basically. And basically I'm nowhere near the top 1% at all. Like I would be speaking highly of myself if I said I was in the top 50. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like I can do things, but there's probably a much better way that I'm doing. Somebody can probably come up with a much better way than the most efficient way I ever thought of.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm working on, and something I'm trying to learn outside of work, like trying to like get myself better at. But it's like I know I'm not gonna be like the best at it, so I can't be that introverted like code like till I drop and die.
You're not gonna be the like secret code master that
exactly
like, can code so well that the government's like, we need him.
Exactly.
Which I'm not sure that ever happens in real life. Only in movies.
No, like it happens very occasionally. Only for like the top security, like NSA, those people. They're like the serious people that are like hiring coders all the time. But like for me, like it's kind of weird because like I have to like find a way into this network in like the cities I want to go to. Which funny story, my buddy Anwar, he was supposed to like introduce me to a bunch of his like connections in Kitchener, who wasn't like already working like the crypto space and like the blockchain space, which is the space I wanted to get into. Perfect. He and I like chatted together on one weekend when he was in London, and then he went back. He got all my info, and like he was supposed to like connect me to this one guy. Never did. Texted him like 5 times since then. Never happened. And then since then I was like, the extroversion in me just kind of went away, and I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, you're like, I tried and I failed.
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating because I know I have to force myself to do this again at some point. It's not, if it's not like next month, it's gonna be next year.
Yeah.
And it's like I have to be that. I have to bring that extroversion side of me again. But it's not like I don't have anything against doing that. It was just very frustrating when I was very willing to do it that it couldn't happen.
So it sounds to me like you're definitely more of an introvert that can manufacture extroversion.
Yeah.
Whereas
for sure.
like I feel like an extrovert, like it comes naturally. Like that's just your typical mode of operation. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna go talk to people because like that's what I do.
Yeah.
I just like it. It's fun to me.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's more of a duty or a responsibility for like you or me, where it's like, well, I know I need a job, which means I have to go talk to someone.
Exactly.
About it.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm never gonna fall backwards into a job.
For
really.
sure.
Like I'm not gonna be just like chatting to someone and then they're like, oh yeah, I need this, and I'm like, oh well, I can do that.
Yeah.
I think everybody can force extroversion.
Yeah. But it's like how they deal with it that matters.
Whereas I feel like not everybody can force introversion.
That's interesting. Really?
Right? Like, I think people can get stuck in situations where they have to be alone and like by themselves and like.
But like they wouldn't choose to.
But I feel like a lot of people wouldn't choose to.
Okay.
I feel like it's a lot easier to like, for introverts to turn it on for a bit and become an extrovert.
True.
Than for extroverts to
turn it off,
become an introvert for a bit.
Actually, counterpoint. What about those introverts who can't talk to anybody to save their lives?
It's true.
Like they want to, they really, really want to, but they just can't. It's not even because of anxiety. It's because that's just who they are.
They just don't know how. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all. Yeah, once again, it all comes from like childhood. It's like,
it does.
If you grew up, whether like you wanted to or you were forced to go talk to other kids, you kind of get into the groove. Of like talking to people.
Yeah.
Whereas if like that was never forced upon you, or if you never chose to, then like you never had to learn how. And like learning how at a later age is definitely harder than learning how at a young age.
For sure. You're just a sponge when you're younger, but when you're older, you're not. You're an old rag.
And like I think when you're older, you're a lot more self-aware.
Yeah.
So like I'm going to second guess myself way more now than I did when I was 6.
Exactly.
And that's like just because, you know, you're more aware, you've lived life, you understand like action consequence. Whereas when you're a kid, you're just like, I'm gonna go talk to that person, so see what happens.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, I'm gonna go talk to that person. That person could hate me. I could say something wrong. I could nail it.
Yeah.
We could become best friends. I could be the best man at their wedding. That's never gonna happen. But I could screw it up, and that person hates me, and then I have to like work with them every day, or like see them at class or whatever. Like, this is gonna sound so stupid.
Right.
I went to this one coffee shop every day before work and got coffee.
Okay.
For like a month.
Sure.
Every day.
Uh-huh.
The dude started to know me.
Right.
He knew my order.
Uh-huh.
He didn't know my name, but he knew my order. And then for 1 week, I was like, I'm going to cut back on spending.
Sure.
I'm going to bring my own coffee to work.
Yeah.
And then one day I forgot to
Bring coffee to
work. So I'm like, I'll go there. And then I see him and I'm like, I can't.
Oh.
He's going to be mad at me
No.
for not showing up for a week. Like, he doesn't care, but I convinced myself that he would be mad at me
Okay.
for not coming to his establishment for a week.
Oh.
I don't know. That's a weird neurosis thing, not necessarily introversion, extroversion.
That's like your own mind. But like, I see what you mean though. Like, the older you are, like the more.
Yeah, the more like different scenarios run through your head.
Yeah.
Oh, like, this guy is going to be mad at me because he knew my order. He might have had it ready. And I didn't show up.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. I broke this man's heart.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to show up and ask for a coffee? No.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, obviously, that's not reality. That's just something that popped into my head, and I convinced myself it was rational. I've gone back a couple times though, and he's never mad at me. He's a very sweet man.
That's good.
But yeah, that's my own weird issues. Like,
yeah, I feel like I do the same thing, but like, I suppress that if it's like a duty thing. Like we talked, like you kind of like absurd about me. Like I know if I go to a career fair and I hand them my flaming piece of shit resume,
right,
I'm gonna look stupid, and this person could possibly be connected with like so many other recruiters and could talk bad shit about me, and like I have all these scenarios going through my head, but
they're also seeing so many flaming shit resumes that why would they pick yours out?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And like in my head, I don't think that. And in my head, what I think is, well, here goes nothing. I have to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Responsibility can overcome certain elements of my personality, I guess. Like you change yourself at work. You change yourself at school. You change yourself with your friends. And then you're a different person when you're alone. But like, it's all like however many sides of the same coin. Like that doesn't make sense because there's only two sides of a coin. But like everybody, you don't change completely. Yeah. You just bring out different elements of yourself.
Yeah.
So like when you're alone, you bring out introversion. When you're with your friends, you bring out extroversion. Hopefully, like depending on the work environment, you might bring out either or. Yeah. Is there a lesson to take away from this? I don't know if there is. There doesn't have to be.
I don't think there is.
I think the lesson is like, you're not wrong.
No.
If you're introverted, you're not wrong.
No.
Extroverted, not wrong. Like, I feel like some people blame themselves when they're overly introverted. Yeah,
like a lot of people like put themselves down if they're introverted. Actually, no. Do you think people put themselves down more if they're introverted?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think from my own experience, when I'm alone is when I'm able to think through every other thing that I've done that was bad, right? Like, it's that thing where you're trying to go to bed and that's when your brain is like, but what about that thing you did in grade 8? Like, aren't you embarrassed still? Like, so that, I think that's when, like, you have more opportunity to put yourself down, is when you're introverted and when you're alone and in your own head. But there's literally nothing wrong with wanting to spend a night alone. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know, self-care comes in a bunch of different ways, right? Like some people need that night out with their friends, having a rave, going nuts, getting out all their stress and energy from work. Other people resolve that stress by taking a bath and reading a book with a candle, or like watching Netflix.
Sure.
And, like, obviously there's middle ground, too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to hang out with one person. Doesn't always have to be a big old rager. Could just be a couple people.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. There's so many different ways to live life, and none of them are technically wrong unless you're hurting someone else. So, that was my conversation with Jason about introversion and extroversion. We're not doctors, we're not psychologists, we don't have clinical definitions or anything. This is just us kind of defining it to ourselves and exploring how it impacts us in our day-to-day. I think a lot of people kind of have the perception that one of them is better than the other, and it tends to be whichever one they are. They identify with it more, so they see it as right. But I think in the end, as long as you're enjoying yourself and you're not hurting anybody else, you know, you're doing it right. You're living your best life. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can email me at midnightmusing.pod@gmail.com or tweet at me at _midnightmusing. I'll be monitoring that and responding to anything I get. Leave a rating and a review on iTunes. It helps other people discover it, and I think spreads the conversation a little further, which is nice. So that's another episode of Midnight Musing in the Books. I hope you liked it. I hope it made you think a little bit. A little self-reflection never hurt anybody. As always, I've been Evan, and I'll see you next midnight.
Thanks for listening. That was a Thunderdog podcast.